tournament upset. Every highlight with KFAN at Hop House. Enjoying Gaardsy, Meat Sauce, Parker Fox for a Bracket Bash watch party. Tipping off at 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. Catch college hoops on the big screens and prizes flowing all day, including 65-inch TVs. Got all the details now, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
So I believe that that's tomorrow, and then Max Fuller and Halvey are doing some more at Hop House as well, right?
That's my understanding, yes.
No,
we got you covered.
Hop House is, and I just haven't gotten the chance to go down there. Maybe I should go down there one of the next 2 days after the show. The place is awesome. So, and it's cool that we got our guys just filling up some watch parties, giving away some cool stuff. And it's cool that I get the chance to catch up with our guy, Paul Charchian, in Utah in his nuclear bunker. How you doing, Charch?
Yeah. I am doing great. Nice to talk to you. When I say I'm doing great, I'm going to be more real than that.
Okay.
I'm battling seasonal allergies because everything is blooming here. It's a little weird to have at this stage of the season, have everything budding out. The bees are out, birds flying around, lizards. It's weird, but also awesome. But my allergies, yeah. So I don't quite sound like myself right now.
That's why you moved out there, though, right? The picturesque scenery and the birds and the bees and the grizzly bears and just the absolute paradise that you currently reside in.
Well, mostly it was to get away from you.
Oh, I mean, that's fair. And I understand it, and hurts me a
1,500 miles.
It's not far enough.
Oh, I figure you'll get over it. Yeah.
Hey, just to kick things off, I mean, it was at one point just kind of a name that was thrown into a mix of, as I've labeled it, it was a suboptimal group. You joined me, I think, 2 or 3 Fridays ago, and we just kind of went through some things. It's like, oof, Derek Carr out of retirement, and what does Kirko have left?
Yeah.
And among those names, of course, was Kyler Murray. And, just kind of bouncing around mentally, like, how does that look? How does that work in this scheme, et cetera? Well, the news breaks at the end of last week. It eventually became this is probably going to happen to it happened. And so now on a Wednesday morning, some chance to kind of work through the mental machinations of it. What do you think about Kyler in Minnesota?
Well, I've spent a week talking myself into it. And I did watch over 100 Kyler Murray passes from last year, so you don't have to.
Oh, thank you.
And I came away, despite the fact that he ultimately got benched this year, and it was a benching, I ultimately walked away feeling a lot better about Kyler Murray, going back and watching through several games of passes. And I thought that we could hit on some of the things that I think bear a degree of debunking.
Okay.
Let's start here, if you don't mind. First, that he's too short to make his reads. It's obviously he is short, but you can get around that, and you can see him making reads from the shotgun, which is mostly where he works, and I think that's a lot of it. And he'll have to function under shotgun here too. I do see a player who makes his reads. What's interesting, Nordo, is I can't remember a quarterback who throws to the middle of the field as much as Kyler Murray does. And when he makes his reads, here is typically how it goes. If it's a middle of the field read, great, because that's where he ultimately wants to end up anyway. But if the first read is, say, to the left, Kyler will scan starting at the left, then he'll move middle of the field, and then it's pretty much over for the reads. He's either going to throw to the middle of the field, or he's going to go run and extend the play with his legs. He will almost never sweep from one side of the field to the other side of the field. He loves his second reads over the middle, and he's really good at it. And that's going to be something that, I'm sure defenses have known. I'm not the first person to make this analysis, and it's something defenses know coming. But also, I think Kevin O'Connell's done a really good job over the years of finding secondary and tertiary receivers that get open over the middle of the field. And that's going to be really important for Kyler, because he does like to get the ball into the middle of the field. So I thought debunk that negative myth, number one, that he can't make his reads, just with the limitation that he does not make full field reads very often.
Well, before you move on, I do want to continue down that road because, kind of the reporting done in terms of, all right, let's do a recap of the 10 games we saw of JJ McCarthy. Only finishes 9. What were some good times, bad times with that? We know most of them, but there was a lot of reporting done, Charch, on the lack of attempts and the lack of specifically over the middle throwing from McCarthy in his first. So, that would be a sea change, and that would lend to the idea that there is some compatibility with Kevin O'Connell's offense, who has been terrific, as you mentioned, whether it's Justin Jefferson or it's Brandon Powell. He finds ways specifically over the middle to get dudes in space on the run, and maybe Kyler can dagger some of that.
Kyler's great at that. And that wasn't something that I had really spent a lot of time on with him. But as it turns out, that really is his sweet spot. Again, loves the middle of the field. And boy, does he throw a catchable pass. This is, you're not going to get lasers from Kyler Murray, but boy, you want touch. I mean, in so many ways, he's the opposite of JJ McCarthy. So much touch on these Kyler Murray passes, just eminently catchable. And we're going to see a lot of that. How about the batted balls? Do you want to talk through the batted balls that everybody just assumes that Kyler Murray is going to have a lot of those?
Well, I'm excited to talk about it because this is turning into like an episode of Football Mythbusters. And the only,
I like it.
And the only person I would ever want to talk about batted balls with is you, Mr. Charchian. So let's hear it.
True story. Around probably 2003 or so, when Mythbusters, the TV show, was really at its peak, right?
Yeah.
I went to the Discovery Channel a couple of times and tried to convince them that we needed a Mythbusters fantasy game. And I devised a whole way to play where you would effectively choose whether or not the myth was going to get busted or not during the episode. And everybody would play along with you, and I was really excited about it, and they never bit. I never ended up making it. But yeah, a Mythbusters fantasy game for me would have been super fun.
Yeah, will Torrey get hurt this
show.
episode or not? It's always happened.
Right. Yes, and they did pick some really great ones, like which is more fuel efficient, to open the windows on your car, which introduces all the wind drag, or to run your air conditioning. And then they would go do the test. I love that stuff. And then all the stuff that they blew up, they was blowing stuff up, which was fantastic.
It was an
blew
awesome
up
show.
A cement truck once. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was a really good show. Mythbusters. Let's talk batted balls. Let's see if we can bust some myths on batted balls. Here is where Kyler Murray has ranked in batted ball percentage over the last 5 years. Last year was his worst year. He had the fourth highest batted ball percentage. Now, obviously, it was an abbreviated season, and maybe it would have gotten better. But I'll note, JJ McCarthy was worse. JJ had the second most batted balls by percentage of passes last year. But after that, it just turns out he's a middle of the pack batted ball guy. 2024, he was 10th. Year before that, 13th in batted balls. Year before that, 15th. And the year before that, 15th. And so last year's batted balls were worse, but over the last 5 years, he's really a middle of the pack batted balls guy. So I don't know that that's going to be as much of a problem as Viking fans assume that it will be. So we'll do that as debunked myth number 2. How do you feel about that?
No, I feel good about that. And in some ways that kind of, maybe you make the natural connection, Charch, that, if you're thinking a significant percentage of balls are batted down, you also look at, okay, where's he throwing that ball, right? And maybe there's a hesitance or an apprehension to try to dominate the middle of the field. So far, I mean, my head's spinning with these myths being busted right before my very ears, Mr. Charchi, and I love it.
All right, last one.
Okay.
Of the myth busting variety. that he can't function under center. And granted, the overwhelming majority of his plays do run out of shotgun, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But under center, at least the plays I watched, he's still functional. And the situations in which they've used him to be under center are pretty unique. Usually, it's 3rd and 1. There's obvious running scenarios. I think there's going to be things you can still do with Kyler Murray under center that we didn't get. You don't get a lot of opportunities to see. But it's important that your quarterback's under center some. I mean, no. Let's not forget, when you're out of shotgun, your running game is completely different.
It is. And
for somebody like Jordan Mason, who we want to get him ahead of steam before he gets going and reaches contact, gets to the line of scrimmage. Shotgun doesn't give that to him. He's got the ball in his hand, 5 yards back. So, there are a lot of things that are going to have to change here to get Kyler Murray in under center. And shotgun's got its own positives and negatives, but it's going to take Kevin O'Connell some real creativity, and he'll be challenged to change this offense in a lot of ways to meet what Kyler needs to do. But I'd like to stress that he can play under center. I mean, it's not like he can't do that. I don't have numbers for you. I was just watching through a bunch of the passes from last year, and when he was under center, it's not like he can't function and he looks awkward and suddenly his poise evaporates. Kyler Murray can still function under center.
Yeah, and just to kind of look at this here, let's look at his rookie season. So I have his splits in front of me via Pro Football Reference. So his rookie season, he had 494 attempts from shotgun and just 48 attempts under center. So whether that's play action or it's a drop back, any non-handoff, obviously just 48 his rookie season. Now let's look at 2024 when he played the whole season. He had 420 attempts out of shotgun and 121. So nearly 3 times the work under center with Drew Petzing versus Kingsbury his rookie season. So when we were kind of analyzing that, PA threw some numbers out earlier in the week, but I do think as far as managing the play action and getting this run game going, he will have to be under center, potentially closer to that Petzing number than it was to Kingsbury, no doubt, right?
Yeah, I think that's 100% correct. And credit Kyler, who basically was never under center in college, at getting more and more adept and more comfortable under center. So I think that still counts. There's been a lot of talk about his improvisational skills, and they are fantastic. I mean, what Kyler does when he needs to leave the pocket, it's pretty sick. It's different from any other quarterback any other with Kyler. He will stay behind the line of scrimmage longer. He doesn't just tuck and start running downfield automatically. He will extend plays laterally more. He can be very patient when he's doing that, letting plays open while he's running laterally. And then last minute, as he's got one more step before he's out of bounds, then he's throwing the ball and he keeps his head downfield. We are getting a really special improvisationalist quarterback, and that part's going to be really fun to see what they do with it. Do they rein it in? Do they let Kyler be Kyler? I hope they do, but we've never seen Kevin O'Connell, whether it was Josh Dobbs, the mobility that he brought for a handful of games, or whether it was JJ McCarthy, who was very mobile last year. We've never seen Kevin O'Connell build an offense around the mobility of his quarterbacks. And I really hope that Kevin does that now and here for this season.
Well, I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, Charch, but I feel like I've been unfair to O'Connell in that specific regard, because when Kyler Murray has been brought up, excuse me one second, when Kyler Murray's been brought up, Charch, the conversation has always stemmed around that improvisation, and he is a pure athlete. And Kevin O'Connell's going to go nuts, right? Because he's drawing up these Rembrandts on a bar napkin in terms of his offense. And Kyler's just going to spit all over it with running around, dancing around, avoiding a sack. finding his third read like 8 seconds into the play because he's running around. The Dobbs thing, Dobbs just couldn't throw. Dobbs is not good at the quarterback position.
Right.
And so then
right.
with J.J. McCarthy, how can you scheme a lot of running opportunities with this kid? And I know it's unfair, but he's only played in 10 games because he gets nicked up. The Packers game, I think maybe he even sustained a concussion at some point in that game. The ankle, when he was running, I believe week 2 in prime time against the Falcons. So, he just really hasn't had that. And I think I've been unfair to O'Connell a bit in terms of, that offense with Kirk Cousins, that was different if you really dig in deep than it was with Sam Darnold. And it's going to be different as well with Kyler Murray. And I do wonder though, where how Kevin, because he'll have to manage that and he's going to have to be okay with that, which you think he would be given the unique athleticism and the talent that Kyler, just the raw ability that he has. And that's what he's offering.
A lot of coaches can be successful when they have the right players to run that coach's scheme. Great coaches, the great ones, will modify their scheme to fit the personnel they've got. This is an inflection point in Kevin O'Connell's career coming right now.
Yeah.
This season. He has to be self-aware enough that, you can't go 5 seasons without a playoff win and not have your job be in jeopardy. I mean, Kevin, and now that there isn't an overarching general manager, Kevin O'Connell is the biggest voice inside the front office right now. And this puts a lot of pressure on Kevin. And if this team doesn't make the playoffs, we don't know for sure that Kevin O'Connell will be back next season and maybe even might need a playoff win in that time. Kevin has to coach this year like this is the last year of his deal. And I think, I am optimistic that he's going to do that. But I think if he rolls in asking Kyler Murray to run the Sam Darnold offense, the J.J. McCarthy offense, and you're right that those offenses are all slightly different and they're all slightly tweaked, but they're all in the same milieu of what Kevin O'Connell has done. Kyler is going to need and require, to use him best, some really new and creative schemes that Kevin O'Connell needs to dream up in what is ultimately going to be a very important year for his career.
Yeah, you laid that out perfectly, and I completely, in lockstep, totally agree with you. And I do. Let's continue on to that vein then. So, welcome, Kyler. Excited to see it. Intrigued by it, and Kevin O'Connell's got to make that work with the run game. Kind of poking around during early stages of free agency. You let Aaron Jones go, and you're kind of okay, Travis Etienne, or I think it's Achan now. Based on a recent presser. I'll get that corrected so I can refer to him the way he wants to be referred to. But we heard about there was maybe some door knocking on Travis, and then some other backs out there. I'm looking at like the Rashad Whites of the world, because we are nickels and dimes in the couch cushions right now for this team in free agency. But ultimately Aaron Jones comes back. So in that milieu, in that universe of Kevin O'Connell's offense, this has been a thing. Just getting defenses to respect the run game has been troubling over the first 4 years here. What do you think? Do we still need to address running back in the draft? Where's your head at with the rushing attack?
Well, okay, several things. Number one, do players deserve to be called by the name that they want to be called?
Yeah.
Well, sure, but also, how about not waiting 5 years to tell us we've all been mispronouncing your name? I mean, I don't understand why you couldn't have mentioned it earlier. We've all been saying Travis Etienne, never corrected us, never said anything else. And then you go, nope, sorry, what it really is Travis Achan, which looks nothing. I mean, visually looks nothing like it. He could have mentioned it sooner, so I could have started working on that. So there's that. Aaron Jones. Every now and again, you and I have talked about this on Friday Football Feast. If you are an A+ human being, locker room presence, good things happen in time. If you are a coach, you get an extra year to prove yourself. I think Leslie Frazier got an extra year because he was a great person inside the Vikings organization. Everybody loved him. When you are not, you don't get the benefit of that doubt. Aaron Jones, in both with the Packers and the Vikings, I mean, the reputationally as strong as you've ever heard. People love Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is not a free agent and he is back on the Vikings, granted at a smaller deal, one the Vikings could afford, I think says a lot about Aaron Jones, who he is, and whether, and just the willingness to try to bring him back. Agree that the Vikings have to come up with a more reliably excellent running game. We thought we were getting that with the acquisition of Jordan Mason last year. And yet notoriously this team did not run on 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts and really never got a commanding running game going all last season. And the challenge now, as we alluded to earlier, Nordo, you're running out of the shotgun now. And that is going to it's going to require a very different running scheme for Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. I think I believe this team will bring in one more back along with Xavier Scott to challenge, but I don't think this team, I think they got too many big needs at other positions that I don't think they put a day 1 or day 2 pick into the running back position.
Is there anything, quiet free agency as it's been? And by the way, I've gone on Spot Rack or Spotrac. I've gone on Over the Cap. I see on one site we have like 14 or 15 million in space. Another one, we have like 9 or 4 or 5 or something. So I have no idea how much money we have. It's somewhere in that range. It ain't a ton. And I see, I think it was Seifert reporting potentially that, of course, there still are some levers to be pulled, including Brian O'Neill, who's entering the final year of his deal. But as quiet as it's been, it's also very clear that this thing ain't over yet. What is still top of mind or front of mind for you in terms of, before the draft, maybe we do invest a pick in that, but I'd still like to see maybe them do something here before draft day via free agency.
Well, no big moves left because there's not enough money left.
Yeah.
I'd like to see us get deeper in the secondary. I mean, if we're going to start adding some inexpensive warm bodies, this team is just so thin at safety and cornerback. And James Pierre helps, but that's just the beginning of it. The guys behind him are not players that we want us to have on the field. So I'd like to see this team, if there's going to be another move or two down the road here between now and the draft, I'd like to get some depth guys at corner and safety who have played the position enough that, you're not getting great players here, but guys who aren't going to get on the field and just soil themselves because the newness of the whole thing and the opportunity is so big. And give me a vet that's cheap, that isn't going to embarrass himself if we need half a game of reps as an injury replacement at cornerback or safety. That to me, that'd be the move I've got sitting in my back pocket. What do you think of that?
No, I like that. And I don't have names that I'm going to prominently display here because it is all depth. And I'm still kind of thinking about that center spot and the names that are available. It's rough, man. I mean, and half the centers available right now are either coming off some sort of Achilles or ACL related issue. I'm too burnt from the Hargrave and Allen and some of the moves we made last year. I need guys that have played a full freaking season. Please add healthy guys into the mix. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm right there with you. Now, I did want to jump back to McCarthy because I found this in this Albert Breer piece that PA and I talked about yesterday. Now, Kyler, it's a 1-year deal. Arizona's footing the bill. We dig that. And McCarthy now entering year 3. They'll have a 5th-year option related conversation to have a year from now. But there was a quote in the Breer piece. This is what Breer said. What O'Connell said to Murray did stick with him, that he was the one guy in the market that could be seen as a potential long-range answer rather than a 1-year Band-Aid. The idea potentially a year from now, we're talking about paying Kyler Murray $45 or $50 million a year. Charch, how does that sit with you?
Yeah. Well, it's great. I mean, this is the thing this was really a Kirk Cousins conversation. If you're paying your quarterback $40 million, it's because your quarterback's pretty good, we just tried the other path. We were like, okay, we're going to pay our quarterback nothing. We're going to put him on his rookie deal. And then we're going to sign a bunch of other guys. And, but if those other guys aren't awesome, you can't make up for your quarterback what you've lost in the quarterback side of the equation. And that's what we just did by letting Sam Darnold walk, Kirk Cousins walk. That's, if we are paying Kyler Murray $40 million next year, it's because he's good. You've got a good quarterback that's what we ultimately want, is a good quarterback. And if we're paying JJ McCarthy $40 million, apparently he got good too. I mean, your goal is ultimately to be paying your quarterback a lot of money because it means you have a good quarterback.
Right.
This isn't, we're not talking about a guard. We're talking about your quarterback. If you've got a good quarterback, pay him and be damn happy you've got a good one. And if we're paying Kyler Murray $40 million next year, fine. Apparently things worked out and we had a good season in 2026 and we had a lot of fun and we got reason for optimism in 2027.
You're as good as it gets, Charch. I really appreciate you spending time with me this morning, man.
This has been a lot of fun, and I was hoping that we'd be recapping like 7 different free agent acquisitions, but
well,
not where that's not where Kwesi left us.
We're out of money, and but here's what I got one more thing. It's completely off the beaten path, and you talked about this via text. You sent me an email on it. The AI bit with golf, because I'm completely fascinated, Charch. Whether it's the sports betting world, that might be a conversation for another day. But AI in fantasy sports and how that is dictating decisions, how accurate it is. I mean, we joke all the time about kind of the AI aggregation of sports information. It can be, it's dubious at best sometimes, but from an AI fantasy sports standpoint, I think you did something golf related recently. How is AI meshing or not meshing with fantasy sports?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm in a fantasy golf league. It's a one and done style league where it runs for about half of the PGA season. You can only pick one golfer one time ever over the course of the season. So you got to figure out when am I going to start Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
And so I'm not a great golf mind. I follow it lightly. I used to play fantasy golf ardently, but not anymore. So I thought, you know what? I don't know that much about it. I'm going to let AI make my picks every single week and see how it turns out. And so I've set up a series of prompts for AI. And if you'd like, I will tell you what those prompts are. And then it chooses a golfer and then I pick that golfer.
Yeah, that's terrific.
If that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the prompts. First, for my fantasy golf league, I want you to help me choose from a short list of the single best possible golfers for this week's upcoming PGA event. I can only choose one golfer one time all year, so I have to be thoughtful about who I select, knowing that I may want to choose him later. The final event is the BMW Championship in August. My fantasy league scoring system awards the golfer's winning dollar amount as fantasy points. You need to consider the prize purse for the current event weighted against prize purses of future events. In your calculation, split your consideration as 1/3 for recent play, 1/3 for event history, and 1/3 for playing style match to this course. And when looking at this event's history, more heavily weight recent performances within the last 3 years.
Okay.
So it has given me so far Justin Rose, Harris English, Sam Burns, Siwoo Kim, Harry Hall, Hideki Matsuyama, Shane Lowry, who melted down 3 weeks ago, had a 3-stroke league with 3 holes to play and lost. Didn't end up winning. Scotty Scheffler, who then turned in the worst performance of his career 2 weeks ago. And then last week, it gave me Colin Morikawa, who withdrew with a bad back. So right now, I'm sitting in 22nd out of 50 teams in my league, letting AI pick my players.
So it's a work in progress, Charch.
It's a work in progress. The AI could not have known that Morikawa had a bad back. None of us did. And so that was a big blow though last week. And Shane Lowry melting down was not a consideration for the AI. I don't think. Scotty Scheffler playing his worst round in 2 years was probably not something that AI saw coming, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. And it's led me to 22nd out of 50, which is not bad. And probably better than I would have done on my own.
I dig it, man. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me, and we're going to catch up soon. All right.
Sounds great. Great talking to you. Bye, Brett.
Bye, Charch.
That's Paul Charchian at Paul Charchian via X. Some Kyler convo and some AI golf. Who knew you'd get that on a Wednesday morning? We're going to pause and we're going to come back. Justin Gaard, the Vox, for Gophers women's hoops at Williams Arena this weekend, tipping off Friday at 5, I believe, with Green Bay in town. The women's NCAA tournament is upon us, and we get home games. We're going to chat about that with Gaardsy next, 9 to noon.
Are you looking to score tickets to the biggest games and concerts in town, from the Minnesota Wild to Santana to the Doobie Brothers to Chris Stapleton and more? Your chance to win is waiting. Enter now, KFAN.com, keyword contest, KFAN.com, keyword contest.
What's up, man? Justin Gaard in studio at Gaardsy via X, producer, bumper to bumper, and of course, fill-in host when he does it. He does so many different things for Gophers Athletics, including play-by-play for the Gopher women's squad as they embark on an NCAA March Madness journey. And they don't have to go far, do they? How about that? Hosting games in the tourney, man. That's so
great.
Sweet.
I'd be on a plane right now. It's great to see you. It's great to be here. We haven't had a good hang since when? Like Army Navy 2020? Yeah. 2021, maybe?
Army
2022?
Army Navy's where we solve a lot of problems.
I feel like I don't even see you anymore.
No, it's just ships passing in the night, and it's time slot terrorism. Abbott would say that I don't care anymore because I don't stay until late enough to see you in the afternoon. Step into the office, do a little ripping.
I could come earlier, too.
Check the pulse on Lil B, and we just, let the good times roll in the office. And
I could come earlier. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great.
I could show up.
I could show up a little earlier, too. But I've got a lot of things to do, as you mentioned. I've got a lot of Gopher stuff going on. We've got TV shows right after this. We've got first round games for the first time in over 20 years at Williams Arena. It's the first time the program's ever actually earned the right by what they've done this season to host. Because back in the day, this is how much it's changed. Back in the day, they predetermined host sites.
Oh, they did? Okay.
They just kind of guessed. We think this team's going to be good. Let's let them host first and second round games if, in fact, they are good, regardless of seed.
For real?
Yeah. And so,
well, how would that impact it? And they'll tell you it doesn't. Is there ever been the impact of seeding then associated with that? If you predetermine the host sites, that could impact, well, this team's at 12. Well, suddenly now they're a 7 because they're hosting a first weekend.
Well, no, it's even worse. They would get the seed that they earned. For example, the 2004 Women's Final Four team with Lindsay Whalen, Janelle McCarville, and crew.
Yeah.
Because Whalen was injured for like the last month of the season before the tournament started. That team got a 7 seed. Had to played a game against a 10, and then a poor 2 seed had to come into the House of Pain, Kansas State, and just get run out of the building in one of the great games in Williams Arena history. So that's what would used to happen. So now, I don't know if it's because of that or other things. Now you have to earn it. Now you've got to be in the top 16, and it's a huge deal. So the Gophers were kind of on a sweat last week to figure out if they were going to finish in the top 16. They did. And now they've got a huge, massive opportunity this weekend where tickets are flying off the shelves, which is awesome.
So you're saying that Whalen's team got a free pass to the Sweet 16?
No, because once she came back, they were like a top 3 or 4 seed, but they'd lost a bunch of games. But I would not want it to be that Kansas State team.
That would have been insane.
Could not have been a fun weekend for them.
So first tourney appearance since 2018, and it's Dawn Plitzaway, the head coach at Gophers Women's. When did it start throughout this year? And maybe I'm just, and maybe you'll have the same answer. I'm targeting kind of that conference stretch where it was just W. It was 8, 9, 10 games in a row where they handled business. Was that kind of where you started going, I think the ladies are on to something here?
Honestly, no, because I figured they were going to be good this year. Obviously, this is my 5th year doing the games, and you just kind of see where it was going, that all these kids that they've been playing the last 3 or 4 years, they're grown-ass women now. And just when I got started with this, the teams that were really good, it's just like men's college basketball. The teams that were really good had a bunch of 3rd, 4th, 5th year players that had played 100 games together. Think about the Caitlin Clark Iowa club. Indiana was very good. They had a bunch of players that literally played 100 games together. And this group of Gophers, Mara Braun, Grace Grahalski, Amaya Battle, Sophie Hart, go down the list, the last couple of years have been playing all of those teams as freshmen and sophomores, and they took some lumps. But even watching them last year with Mara being injured again, winning the WBIT, I think that was helpful. And so you figured if they're all healthy, they should be pretty good. Yeah. And Where I think the team got hurt a little bit was they dropped a game to Maryland in December that a lot of people watched, a lot of people saw it. They should have won the game. They gave it away. And that was a game that could have caught everybody's attention like that.
Right.
But because they didn't, it took a minute, I think, for people, including national people that vote for things like hosting regionals and things like that, to go, yeah, this team is pretty good. So when they went to Iowa and beat Iowa for the first time in Iowa City since 2007, that's what got everybody's attention. Iowa was ranked 10th at the time, and they pretty much woodshedded them. They were up 20 in the fourth quarter and played great. But so I thought they'd have a good year if they could stay healthy for the most part, and they obviously finished that off with 9-game winning streak in the Big Ten, and now they're hosting games this weekend. It's been a phenomenal season.
No, it's awesome. And, I told you before you came in here, I might have stupid questions for you just because I haven't been as close to it as you have.
Here's what I'll say. I'm not like, we always joke about the ball guys. You know, you go to the press box at Target Field, and it's the least welcoming place ever with all the ball guys. And we're friends with a lot of those guys. But what do they all say? Oh, wow, who's showing up? We don't do that. I don't do that, okay? Go for football, go for basketball, go for women's basketball. If you want to come, if this has intrigued you, I'm here to help you. I'm not going to make you feel stupid because you haven't been watching the All-10 all year. So there are no dumb questions. I am not a ball guy. Go ahead.
But who drives? Is it Mara Braun? Is it the return from injury?
That helps.
How evenly they are when you're just, if you're chasing box scores and you look at the production, the combination of health combined with the support scoring across the board, it just seems the consistency of that top five. You can bring Glenn off the bench. Like, I just think there's a lot of even-handedness to the way their offense operates.
You're seeing it clearly.
Oh, thank you.
You're seeing it clearly, and that is the beauty of the team.
You want to hear about the Seattle Kraken?
Not particularly, no, and I don't want your Draisaitl takes, too, on how that's going to affect Connor McDavid in his prime. But look at the 5 starters, Nordo. All 5 starters averaged in double figures. Like, that's really hard to do. I don't know how many teams have that. I don't know if very many teams in the country have that. And that's the beauty of it on any given night. I'm just looking at the list right now, like Tori McKinney, her career highs in the high 20s. Grace Grahalski, her career highs in the 30s. Same with Mara Braun. Sophie Hart, it's the 20s. Amaya Battle, it's the 30s. They've all gone off at some point over the last couple of years. And that's the beauty of it. And they're very, democratic. They're egoless. They have great vibes together. They get along. And so at any given moment, one of those players can have a big night. And a lot of moments this year, 4 or 5 of them have had big nights. And so that's the beauty of the team. And by the way, all these players, Tori McKinney could go anywhere and probably score more. Mara Braun, same thing. Great. They all have more. If they were playing on a team that didn't have that depth, they could average 18, 19 points. Mara Braun did that as a freshman when they needed her to do that. They don't need her to do that anymore, and it's just the consistency and the balance and the depth that makes them so formidable.
Secrets out, packing the barn. I mean, tickets flying for not just this weekend, but maybe even really the anticipatory nature of fandom where the games leading up to this. Barn getting loud for the ladies. Yeah,
they had a great crowd the senior day against Michigan State. I think like 7,500 or something like that. Best crowd of the season. It'll be over 10,000 on Friday, which is awesome. 5 o'clock tip time is good. Lower level's already sold out. Most of the sides on the upper level are sold out as well. So now they're working on the ends. Now they're working on the ends to get those filled in. And as I've been telling everybody, like if you haven't been in the barn in a while, and trust me, I'm there a lot for men and women. I know a lot of you haven't been at the barn for a while. I know we all wax nostalgia about what a great building it is, and we can never do anything with it, and you can never touch it. And then I said, well, have you been there lately? And they go, well, no, not really. I said, okay, well, I need some updates. Let's just start there. But there really aren't any bad seats. So, like, if people get on goforsports.com and they're like, oh, man, there's only uppers in row 5. Like, you're right there. Like, I sit there all the time. My radio spot is first row of the upper deck. It's awesome. So if that's holding you back, I would say don't. Go. 5 o'clock tickets are $26. And it's a great team. It's a fun team to watch. And the vibes have been outstanding, especially once, like I said earlier, people started picking up the scent of this team. The vibes have been outstanding and off the charts.
So get out alive, dominate Green Bay on Friday. Then it's the winner of Ole Miss and Gonzaga. And after that, I think, it's doesn't get easy. I mean, Sweet 16 would be sweet. I think it'd be UCLA would be heavily favored in that mix. Just what's the buzz around where they sit in the tournament, where they sit in the bracket, and just kind of thinking at a higher level in terms of where they might have a chance or the struggles maybe that might lie ahead of them if they get through this weekend.
Well, what would be interesting about like this first game, for example, is, and we've had a lot of these over the years, the regional opponents, there's, a handful of Wisconsin kids on Minnesota. There's a handful of Minnesota kids on Green Bay. Half of them played AAU together, either here or there. So there's not like that awe factor or familiarity. I'm guessing a lot of these players for Green Bay have at least been to Williams Arena or maybe seen it. And these two teams played going all the way back to my first year. And it's a program that's used to winning. So this one, it's always scary. So, but that's the interesting psychosis of it now is you wanted to host, you wanted the opportunity to host. You asked the state tournament on the boys' side to move a week so you could keep this week open. They did that. Now you have it. Well, now you got to go win.
Right.
Now it's up. Now the pressure kind of shifts to you. So it'll be interesting because it has been a team that has been chasing all season long, chasing respect, chasing wins, chasing down the top of the Big Ten. Well, now they're the host. And now teams like Green Bay and certainly Ole Miss coming in here saying, we'd love to be the villain. We'd love to be the enemy and silence that great crowd that Gaardsy's talking about. So, but we'll see what happens in the first matchup. Ole Miss is going to be tricky. SEC is a very good conference. Some people call it like the WNBA light because they put so many players at the next level. We'll see how they do against Gonzaga because that's also a really good program that's used to winning, but it's just a great opportunity.
Last one or two for you, and then you're headed, I think, to campus today, right? Is there a media thing going on as well?
That's tomorrow. I've got the Don Plitzaway TV show today. That's why I'm not wearing a hat. Thanks for noticing.
We're hat guys.
Yeah,
we're hat guys for obvious reasons.
Correct.
It's just it is as it is. And completely off topic, by the way. One of the 50 things you do. Somebody texted me about the Pair and a Spare podcast with Grimm. That was yesterday, right?
Yes, we posted it yesterday.
Okay. And people, he asked me if I had heard it, that there was a great bit in there or something specifically with Grimm. But listen to that. Download it. Free iHeartRadio app.
It was good.
What an hey, out of this hour-long podcast, was there a really cool bit in there? My bad.
There were multiple bits. It was Grimm, as you know. It was supposed to be 45 minutes. We went 115 because he's got the Midwest goodbye, although that was our fault. We were spinning him up. It was great, though.
Whether it was the 04 team that goes to the Final Four, first appearance for the women since 2018. Where does this particular group are there similarities to the idea, like with that 04 team, people that had played together for a long time and sweated out as a group, the familiarity and the bond that builds there? It sounds I'm not trying to put them as a Final Four team here, but in terms of the similarities to a group that logged a lot of minutes together and they're fully healthy, ready to freaking roll, like where do you put this team in terms of just being in the catbird seat and getting the chance to watch this thing unfold?
Well, I mean, I think where they are is where they thought they were going to be all season, like a top 15, 16 team.
Okay.
If you look at their net rating, it was basically in the top 10 all season. And they got rewarded for that because there was a lot of speculation about the final couple of top 16 seeds. Could it be Michigan State who beat them? Could it be Maryland who beat them? Could it be a team like Kentucky from the SEC who's been there the whole time? So I just think they're kind of the team that they thought they were going to be. Just a rugged defensive team. That's the one thing we haven't talked about. Like, not only has the experience and the depth helped them offensively, but it's a group that knows where each other's going to be. Like with Flo's defense, for example. Like when you have Harrison Smith and Metellus and Grenard and all these bits, Cashman, Van Ginkel, that have all played together now for a little bit.
And they all know.
They all know where they're supposed to go. They all know what the other person's going to do. There's just that connection and connectivity. And really, we've talked all about the offense and who's been scoring and the balance there. But truthfully, the strength of this team is their defense. The fact that they hold teams to fewer than 60 points. They've been in the top 5 all year in terms of scoring defense. They don't turn the ball over. They're just such a hard out.
Yeah.
And that's why it's fun, because I think, I even remember going back to like Zimmer's defenses. Like Minnesotans seem to like a good defensive effort. Like they understand it. Like they like the ruggedness, the toughness, the scrappiness.
Yeah.
And this team has that. And there's been so many times this season at Williams where the crowd has just been uplifted by how hard they're playing defensively and how miserable they're making it on some of these better players of the Big Ten. And so that's the other part of why it's a fun team to watch, because it's not like you're pulling up to Target Center and somebody scores 72 points in a half, right? And Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle are looking around having no idea where their guy is. The stuff we hear about all the time. Like, that does not happen with these women. Like, they are locked in. And so that's why it's just been a fun team to cover and kind of follow through this entire season. And that's why if you're thinking about coming to the Barn or coming to the Barn this weekend, that's another reason why. Like, you're going to see just a rugged defensive crew. They're physical. They're tough. A lot of other coaches in the Big Ten have said that as well. It's like they're coming in to kick your ass. Like, they're not that interested in anything else, which is why they've been winning.
Well, what's the only disappointing part of this, based on how you laid it out, is that the Wolves play on Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, against Portland, right?
Yes, indeed.
That's
because
intriguing.
It sounds like Finch needs to take a team field trip to the Barn to watch the women on Friday against Green Bay to learn how to play some bleeping defense. Oh, my goodness, with where this team's at right now. But, hey.
They played it last night. I heard you on the way, and they played pretty well last night, the Wolves.
I thought Bone and Nas is fighting through this freaking shoulder thing. Team's falling apart.
It was a fun game last night.
It was fun, and Jalen Green was just awful, which certainly helped, especially early. I thought they were going to run us out of that thing.
Yeah.
When Booker was scoring the way he was, and Jalen hit a couple triples. You're doing terrific work, man. Whether it's for this team, you did some high school stuff.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming in a little early. We don't see each other often enough. I appreciate it, man.
You could care a little bit more.
I could care a little
You could care a little bit more. Am I done?
Yeah, you're done,
All
man.
right.
That's JG. That's Justin Gaard. He's got one of his 50 jobs to get to, but we carved out some time this morning. Again, Gopher Women, 5 o'clock on Friday, tip-off at Williams Arena. You can go to gophersports.com, get tickets to the game. Not a bad seat in the house. Might need a little paint job here, there, and anywhere, but the Barn kicks ass, and it's going to be a rowdy crowd to watch Green Bay get the victory on Friday. A Sunday, I believe, afternoon affair would be in tow then with the winner of Ole Miss and Gonzaga. So at Gaardsy via X, follow along. You're home for Gopher Sports. It's the Fan. Some news next. Lavelle, final hour. News du Nord brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. Poker, blackjack, and table games all year round. Live racing in the spring, music bits. CanterburyPark.com is the spot to go.
Wilder winners.
Hansen now. Center. Zuccarello scores! Matt Zuccarello wins it in overtime. Nice setup by Johansson. And with $1:51 to go in the extra session, the Wild prevail in this one. 4-3 from United Center.
Yeah, the game last night, you needed the 2 points. We talked about it during 9 to noon yesterday. And Wes Wall's terrific work as he does on TV joined me to open the show. But just kind of the idea, 3 non-playoff East teams come in from the Flyers to the Rangers and Leafs, and they snag 2 points. And the shootout game against the Flyers may be the worst of the bunch, despite getting that point, because Igor Shesterkin was unfreaking believable on Saturday in the Rangers affair. And then it just felt like, despite, and Wes noted all the zone time they had, like 30-some minutes or something like that in the Sunday game, and just unable to cash in. But last night, then you have the early urgency, as we've talked about. They get up 3-1. Still, I want to see this team close them out. That's what I want to see tomorrow night. It's another 6:30 puck drop affair, correct? And we're going to be at Tria for the show, and we're going to get to chat with John Hines, Anthony LaPanta, etc. Close the deal in regulation. That was just part of a little talker we had during the first hour. I want more regulation victories. At this time, I just want victories. But at all, these are just little mini appetizers with the injured Blackhawks as they are. This is all little appetizers and little nibbles that lead us to a Saturday showdown with the Stars, which is going to be awesome.
Your Vikings have a new punter.
And now Johnny Hecker's in the game to punt. Now, got to be careful with Johnny Pecker. All right, 3-2. You got to be all right. 3-2. You got to be careful with Johnny Hecker because
what a slip. But no, it was just funny. And they trying to say Hecker passes turned into radio gold. That isn't leaving. Now he's on our team, so we have to have Johnny Hecker on the show. He is here to heave and to hold. He does throw 15 of 26, $193 through the air, had a touchdown his rookie season. But I think the key to this, and pretty good punter for the most part, spent many years, a decade with the St. Louis/LA Rams. He's here to hold. So our specialist battery is complete from Andrew DePaula. He'll snap it to Johnny Hecker and Will Reichert from 50 plus. The field goal is good.
And then lastly, your Wolves winners as well. An Antless Wolves, he's going to be out for a little while. 116-104 the final over the Suns at Target Center. But also in the last hour, the Timberwolves recalled Beringer from the Iowa Wolves. Beringer, so he will be back up with your Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, and they're playing Utah tonight, so no rest for the Victors. And it was a little clompy to start. Bones Highland and Ayo Dosunmu were my two favorite players on the court last night. Naz Reid doing everything that he can with this shoulder bit, but he fought through, gave 18 hard minutes. And really just the defense we've been begging for, and even last segment, just kind of sarcastically talking about it with Gaardsy. You saw defensive moments last night that paved the way for them to really stifling Jalen Green for the totality of that. Booker got his, but just Booker, and that turned into a W for the Wolves. So beat Utah tonight. I mean, really just rattle these things off, right? So Beringer getting moved up and just trying to get healthy with this knee thing with Ant. In the meantime, while he's gone, set the table. You got that 3-game buffer to stay out of the play-in. Let's not just stay out of the play-in. Let's beat Utah, beat Portland, and hopefully we're game for a Sunday afternoon affair against Boston on Sunday.
There you have it.
News to Nord brought to you by The Casino, Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. When we return, we're going to check in with Lavelle E. Neal III, Star Tribune columnist. It is the final hour. It is a vocal maintenance day. Nordo in for PA on the Fan.